Welcome to the Trust Factor Podcast, the only podcast that guarantees your success when you implement its divine age-old teachings. Good morning, everybody. It's almost Friday. Just went that fast. Just as it did for you, it did for me. It's unbelievable how quickly these weeks go by. Thank God, Baruch Hashem. We literally go from Shabbat to Shabbat. We live from week to week, from Shabbat to Shabbat, anticipating the beauty of it. Whether you're aware of it or you're not, if you're keeping Shabbat, you're constantly anticipating what's to come because it's such an unbelievable day. I want to pick up where we left off yesterday and give you an example that I thought about after the podcast yesterday. I was thinking about the podcast and I thought to myself, there's a beautiful example in the Torah that I can give. Because yesterday I said that there are a couple reasons why the fact that you're not able to grow your spirituality, the fact that it's taken you up until now. You know, I get a lot of people who comment on my podcast, tell me personally how it's as though I'm speaking to them. Just this week, 3 or 4 people told me that. It's as though my words are finding their home, which is an unbelievable indication for your own personal growth, because that means that God has opened up that gate. He's allowing you to build a connection with him. And even if you had one before, your connection now has the ability and the potential to get even higher, because for whatever reason, he's chosen my voice and this moment to allow his Torah concepts to penetrate your heart. So it's an unbelievable opportunity for amazing growth that doesn't come all the time. That means that up until now, he's been withholding this opportunity for this level of growth. The question is, why? Why does he make a conscious effort to hold back a relationship between us and him? And number one, we said, was because we're not deserving. There were so many years when there were taps on the shoulder, when God tried to get your attention because he always wanted to have a relationship with you, but you always retreated. You always chose otherwise, and you didn't invest in your relationship with him. So for all those times, measure for measure, you've got to pay. Nothing goes unpaid. But he does it by withdrawing from that relationship actively. It says, Im ta'azveni yom, yomayim a'azveka, which means if you leave me for one day, I'll leave you for 2. It tells you that clearly in his own words, that we're not supposed to detract from him. When you do detract, there's a consequence. And the consequence is that he withholds your ability to grow your relationship with him. So that's number one. Number 2 answer is you're not ready. You're not ready. And this brings me to what I thought about yesterday. You're not spiritually, or your character flaws have not yet been perfected enough to be able to move to the next level, just like the child, the toddler with the gates. But there's an example in Torah which illustrates how important it is to bring you up at the right time and just how high up you can travel, especially in a month like Adar. The story is Joseph. You guys know it. Joseph and his brothers. His father loves Joseph more than he loves his other sons, makes him a beautiful woolen tunic, and the brothers are jealous of Joseph. What happens to Joseph? Joseph, being the youngest at the time, lost his mother at such a young age. Didn't get to grow up with a mother. Tragic. His other brothers had mothers. He didn't. Second, his brothers hated him. The ones who were older than him and had to protect him and love him. They resented him for many reasons. Then, if that wasn't enough, his very brothers, his flesh and blood, tried to kill him. They threw him into a pit in order to kill him. And then when they changed their minds, they decided, let's instead sell him to a caravan of Ishmaelites, which was basically certain death, just not at their hands. They thought it would have been at somebody else's hands. And then he gets sold as a slave to none other than Potiphar, one of the worst human beings that ever lived, and a powerhouse in Egypt. And then he gets seduced by Potiphar's wife. She does everything she can in gory detail to try and get him to sin with her. And then he gets accused that it was his fault. And then he gets thrown in a dungeon and spends an unbelievable amount of time dealing with torturous conditions in an underground pit. And then, only then, after all that difficulty and tribulation, all of which served to build him up and prepare him, almost overnight, no, not almost, overnight, he's plucked out of this dungeon, given a shower and a shave, cleaned up, dressed up in his finest, and brought in front of the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And at that time, immediately, is turned into the viceroy of Egypt. We know the story. He interprets the dreams. He becomes the right-hand man to the Pharaoh, the viceroy of Egypt. He was the most powerful man in Egypt, all but for the Pharaoh. Overnight, but it wasn't overnight. It took a lifetime of suffering, an absolute lifetime of suffering, for him to get through all the difficulties that would serve to build him up and prepare him to take on one of the biggest roles in the world and in Jewish history. That gives you an idea of how he works. Even with his loved ones, his most precious, the righteous ones in biblical history, he builds you up before he projects you and propels you forward. Let's continue. This part of the book is called The Experienced Driver. It says the following, and it's a wonderful analogy. It says, those who live with emunah that the Creator's divine providence is always for the best, they're happy and confident. We know that. We've said that. Now he's going to give you an analogy. He says, they don't suspect God of leading him down the wrong road, obviously. Such individuals resemble those who make an intercity bus trip. They're sure that the driver knows both how to drive the bus and how to choose the best route. With nothing else to worry about, they're free to relax in their seats, gaze out the window, or today keep your head in your phone, and enjoy each minute of the trip. They reach their destination happily and go about their tasks with vigor. They didn't think about it. They got on the bus, they paid their fare, and they moved on, and they enjoyed their ride. Conversely, those who lack emunah are like nervous passengers on the same inner city bus. A backseat driver. They think that they can drive the bus better than the bus driver can. They think that they're capable of choosing a shorter and faster route. Frustrated, they try to drive the bus from their own seat in row 12. Each minute passes with bitterness and frustration. You could see it on them, since they're sure that the driver doesn't know what he's doing or where he's going. They're worried that the bus is traveling east rather than west. They think that the driver is going either too fast or going too slow. Those same worried passengers suffer substantial emotional stress because they lack faith in the bus driver. They reach their destination nerve-wracked and completely worn out. You know these people, guys. You've been on the bus with them, and this is all taking me back to the days when I was riding the bus, which was a long time ago, talking about grade school. Okay, but this is taking me back because you see these people wiggling in their chair. They're so uncomfortable. They're constantly stretching their necks to look out. Where is he going? Is he going to miss a stop? Is he going to stop here? Is he going to take the right? Is he going to not take the right? Constantly on edge. And you're thinking, what's wrong with these people? Now, when I was a kid, I didn't even pay attention. I was just doing my own thing. The last thing I was thinking about was, does this driver know where he's going? It's just like the passenger sitting beside you in the car when you're driving. He's terrified. Constantly you could see he's got a death grip on the door. Why? What's going on? Nothing. It's just that he's not driving. He's not in control. If somebody else is in control, he's going to be nervous. You could be the best driver in the world, but they're constantly looking out. Oh, be careful. Oh, be careful. Oh, I saw the truck. It's about 300 feet in front of me. I've got 12 car lengths between me and him, and we're driving slow and the roads are clear. I see him. Relax. They don't give up control even for a second. They get out of the car. They're exhausted. They might as well be sweating. It was a workout for them. Now you know where this is going. It says, let's pause for a moment and consider the profound difference between the two types of passengers in the inner city bus example. Both pay the exact same amount for a ticket. They ride the same bus. They arrive at the same exact destination at the very same moment. Yet the first type of passenger reaches the destination with happiness and complete emotional health. In fact, they could even be better than that because they could have brought meaningful material to read and to learn and to grow with. In the meantime, maximize that opportunity to connect back to their Creator. Look outside, see the view, take it all in, and understand how fortunate you are to be alive, to have another opportunity, to be grateful. That's what I would be doing if I found myself on a bus with nothing but time, waiting on a perfectly capable and competent, fully trained bus driver. Yet, the first type of passenger reaches the destination with happiness and complete emotional health, while the second type is a nearly incapacitated bundle of nerves. Which type of passenger would you prefer to be? With emunah, we arrive at our destination in life calmly, safely, and happily, prepared to energetically face the challenges that come our way. Just like I said, if you prepare properly, if you've brought a book, if you've brought your teachings, if you're listening to the podcast, and you're growing in your relationship with your Creator during that time, then you fly off that bus. Then your day starts perfectly. It can't get any better than that. But the choice is yours. You choose. That other individual who is sitting there on pins and needles is making a choice. Whether or not they realize it is a different story, but they are making an active choice to be nervous and to want to be in control. And if they could take the wheel, they would take the wheel. And if they could get the bus driver fired because he made a small gesture in the wrong direction and corrected, they look for every opportunity because they are terrified of life, constantly running around, trying to control situations, and they end up miserable and spent. They've got no more energy left for their families. They've got no more energy left to do the good things that they're supposed to do because they're wiped. They come back home and they've got nothing in the tank left. Whereas the other person used the ride to work and from on the way back to grow. And I don't mean just put your face in a book. Look out the window. Look at the sky. Look at the trees. Look at the greenery and see what's out there and appreciate it. Recognize. Just look at a tree. I'll leave you with this. The best filtration system on planet Earth, free of charge, cleans the air for you as a service because he brought you here. He wants to make sure you have clean, fresh air. So he puts these wonderful trees that just sit there and purify your air for you. Best filtration system in the world, costs you nothing, and they're everywhere. Next time you look at them, just have a little bit more appreciation, and that will change everything for you. That drop of increased appreciation for what's around you, even the inanimate, is going to change your life exponentially. Try it out, and you'll see. Have an amazing day. Thank you for spending time with us on the Trust Factor podcast. If you've heard something today that moved you, save this episode and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming conversations that challenge, empower, and uplift. And if you're on social media, connect with us. Leave your thoughts. Drop a quote that resonated with you. Hashtag the Trust Factor podcast. Until next time, keep growing in your trust and keep living with purpose. I'm Jesse Revivo, and this has been the Trust Factor podcast. Thanks for listening.